Thank you. I'm Mr. Lehner, and welcome back to Mr. Lehner's Math Extravaganza. Today, in this webisode, we're going to focus a little bit more on decimals and build upon what we've learned about thus far in our investigation up to this point. We're also going to build into some things we did earlier in the year in our investigations in terms of ratios and rates as well. So hopefully you have your thinking cap on, your brains are ready to go. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into this bad boy. In our first example, it says, use this chart to compare the walking rates for each day. We have our day up here, day 1, day 2, day 3. We have our distance traveled in miles. This is significant. Do not forget to put the unit when you're talking about your numbers here, because again, if I said 13 inches, that was pretty easy to get 13 inches. If I was going to do 13 feet, I could walk from here to my desk and I'd be 13 feet very quickly. But if I said 13 miles, that's a little bit longer. That's a big difference between inches, feet, and miles there. So make sure you guys don't forget to add in those units. It's very significant. Then lastly, time in hours. Again, you want to make sure you put your time marker on there. 4 minutes, 4 seconds, 4 hours. Yeah, it's a big difference if I said, hey, sit in your desk and sit there for 4 seconds. That's not bad. Sit there for 4 minutes. That's not bad. Sit there for 4 hours. You might think Mr. Lehner's pretty crazy if he asked you to do that. I think that too. But I digress. Let's take a look at our chart and figure out what this all means. Day 1, Mr. Lehner walked 13 miles and it took him 4 hours. Day 2, he walked 17 miles and it took him 5 hours. And day 3, he walked 7.7 miles in 2.5 hours. So I'm going to ask myself, what am I trying to find in this problem? If I was going to make some conjectures, again, kind of like an inference in reading that you guys do, I'm going to make a conjecture from this chart. I'm going to see how many miles can Mr. Lehner walk per hour. So this is significant. What operations am I going to use? Can you guys help me out? I forgot. Sorry, I just shouted at the screen. I'll hear you. Division? Yeah, you guys got a loud voice. I can hear you all the way over here. All right, let's try it. I'm going to take day 1. I walked 13 miles, and again, I've added in the units to make sure I didn't forget and make a mistake here. 13 miles divided by the 4 hours that I walked. So I'm going to walk 3.25 miles per hour. That's the unit rate I'm going to find for that day. Now, if I threw a fraction at you, anyone know what 3.25 is as a fraction? Yeah, it would be 3 1/4 miles per hour. So again, those fractions came back. Don't be scared of those fractions. Day 2, I walked 17 miles in 5 hours, so I divided them together, and I came up with 3.4 miles per hour. Or if I made that a fraction, 3 4/10 or 3 2/5 as a equivalent fraction. Day 3, I walked 7.7 miles, divide that by 2.5 hours, and I would have come up with 3.08 miles per hour, or 3 800 mile per hour. So again, here's my information. So if I'm trying to get like my cardiovascular up, or I'm tracking my progress in walking to get myself into shape, I can make some conjectures from here, from this chart. Now if I was trying to see what day did I do the best, what day was the most beneficial to me, I would say day 2, because I walked the most miles per hour and I was getting the most out of it for my body, if I was trying to improve my cardiovascular. What day did I do the worst? I would have said day 3. Even though I went less miles and it took me less time, I was only going 3.08 miles per hour. Whereas in day 1 I did okay, I was going 3.25 miles per hour, but this is something that I can kind of chart the progress of how I would be walking here. So you might do it with, like, say you're shooting free throws, or in soccer, or if you're a runner and you want to time your sprints. You can make your own conjectures and you can make your own chart based on the progress that you're trying to complete. You could even do it with, like, your math test. Well, that's a good one. You like how I threw math in there? I kind of like that. You might try and chart your progress to see how many questions did I get right on, this test compared to another test, to chart your progress throughout there, to find some unit rates. Another thing I can do, I can turn these into ratios and fractions if I choose to. In day 1, I did 3.25 miles per 1 hour, 3.4 to 1, 3.08 to 1. And it's, again, miles to hours in here. That's what I'm comparing inside our ratio. So that's kind of like just to bring that back in to say, like, hey, just because we learned that early in the year doesn't mean we still can't use that now. Just as a little refresher. Yeah, we're back to food. Pizza, one of Mr. Lehner's favorites. Here's what you're going to solve at home. Chris orders a pizza and pop for 6 of his friends. The total cost of the pizza is $24.79. The total cost for the pop is $7.27. Chris and his friends decided to give a $5 tip for the delivery man. What is the total cost per person for the pizza and drinks? I know you have your pencil and paper ready. If you got a calculator, that's great. Go ahead and pause this video and we'll see what you came up with. Okay, so the main thing you want to look at here. I know that it's Chris and 6 of his friends are getting pizza and pop. Well, that's Chris and then 6 of his friends. I know there's 7 people total. I know that I need to find the total cost of the pizza, the pop, and then I'm going to include the tip too. I'm trying to find out, what am I trying to find out? I'm trying to find out what the total cost per person is for pizza and drinks. So let's think about some operations that we can use to figure this out. I know that if I'm finding total, I'm going to use addition. So I'm going to add the price of the pizza, plus the price of the pop, plus the $5 tip. That's going to give me a total of $37.06. I then know that there's 7 people that are going to be kind of sharing this equally, so I have to divide that price by 7. So if this is what it's going to cost us for pizza, pop, and our tip for the delivery man, again, we don't want to be rude, I have to divide that by 7 people to find out price per person. So $37.06 divided by 7 people is going to equal $5.29. Well, that's good and great now, but what does $5.29 mean? Oh, the cost for the pizza and pop is $5, and we round up maybe to $5.30 per person, if I was choosing to do that. But this would be the total cost. And when you type that in your calculator, you may have come up with 5.29, and you might have had a couple other decimals in there. We just rounded it up. I rounded up to $5.30 per person. So if we were going to have this party, it's very easy for us to figure out how much money it's going to cost each person. So you might have a sleepover, you might have some friends over, might be a nice hot summer day. I know it'd be a nice change from this weather outside. But you might decide, hey, let's have some pizza and pop, relax, watch some movies, go swimming, hang out with friends. And if you choose to do that, you would know how much it would cost each person to do that. Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful episode of Mr. Lehner's Math Extravaganza. As always, we'll see you next time.